Hello! Well, we're gonna start a new mission after, way too long. So let's see what we're gonna do. Well, it looks like we have more snow battles ahead of us. That seems like an incredibly risky thing to do with heavy war machines. Especially if the rivers run deep and might only be frozen over on the surface. Ugh. Sounds like a great way to freeze your squad to death. But what do I know? Ippei lives in this fictional universe region, and I don't. So let's check our squads. A lot of our units are unchanged. And this is pretty natural because as I get troops that fit the roles better, any additions are less likely to be directly superior to what I have. Although there are exceptions. For example, as you just saw, I gave Ink Shrap to Kinsado just in case his anti-infantry firepower wasn't strong enough before. Well, actually he did need some help last mission, so who knows, maybe that's what I need. And Ayana gets that amazing shooter squad with E-Wire. This will be really nice when she has to deal some damage to anti-AFWs, I'd say. And Jun, well, I considered giving him a mechanic with illumination shot, except that's what my recon is for, so why did I do that? Better just go back to adhesive mine. Although E-Wire would also be acceptable, I'm using most of that already. Oh well. Ippei and Emilio are, of course, unchanged. Although I did consider moving the adhesive mines over to Ryoko just because she can use those to counterattack, like I did a couple of maps ago, which was hilarious. But we're not doing that this time. We're gonna need her to deal with squads, and as for why, well, you'll see when the map starts. Oh boy. I'm in for a treat gameplay-wise, and you're in for a treat watching it. That's all I'm gonna say for now. I think that Kinsado doesn't need supply too badly because his AFW recovers quickly on the map naturally and it reloads quickly naturally. So I want to try broadening his abilities a little bit too. We got a clue about this earlier when he said he was an Alpini. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but mountaineering is his thing. I don't know if that actually affects him in game. It probably doesn't, considering how previous things have gone. Oh, John. Okay, in this case, Ippei is right to be angry because John said something really stupid there. Like, Karma has a hidden base with supplies, but most of its people were killed, so I wouldn't just say, hey, we just learned that Karma has this base is going to somehow reinvigorate everything. You know what? I probably should have looked that up. I really should have looked that up. Because then I could have said something clever about history. But I didn't, so I can't. Given the way everyone treats Emilio, this is going to be an odd thing to say, but Ryoko really needs to treat him with some respect. If they start to get lost, Emilio's mountaineering know-how might be their only way out of this. Acquaintances, huh? Well, let's talk about this weather condition here. The first notable effect is that all of this snow in the foreground makes it kind of hard for me to see these movement ranges. I don't recall the operation room tips warning me about that. Oh well. The other thing is, it doesn't actually affect me much in battle, however, my movement radius is shortened considerably in this weather. It affects some of my units more than others, but Ryoko especially can only move 2 tiles even on a road. Let that sink in. Also, the, bisected elephant in the room, only half of us are here. And while we do have most of the material we need, we are short on an AFW that can attack at long distance, which, considering that we have a narrow battlefield here, is kind of a problem. Well, because of this really weird situation, I need to be very careful about how I move everything. The good news is that all of my units move before the enemy does. I can only assume that they aren't bringing too many supply squads with them. I'm thinking, okay, I can take care of these guys. I'll stop them with adhesive mines if I have to. Oh wait. Oh wait. Alright, the thing we need to watch out for here is enemy cooperation. Yeah. Well, we're at short range, so their medics are gonna hit reasonably hard with co-op as well. Or they would if the enemy was smart enough to move both of their squads forward at once. I mean, maybe they're trying to avoid my rapid fire, but I don't think it really justifies this. Not that I'm complaining, of course. Ooh, that's, I gotta be careful about that. Nonetheless. So nothing's stopping Jun from getting lots of full accuracy shots here, except of course that they're moving forward and I really need to keep moving back. Whew, Wow, that was quite a damage burst, though. I'm really glad I can rely on my squads at times like this. So, I figure I'm about to get punched at any time. Because I wasn't paying attention to what squads I was bringing along. Remember that previous odd occurrence where the enemy fired at me instead of punching at me? Well, this time it was a mistake on their part, because look what happened. I can get another shot on them, and because my squads were really on fire this time, it turns out that I was able to wipe their squads out without too much of a problem. Although it was right on the buzzer because, well, that's the end of the combat, alright. But I can't really ask for anything better in this situation. Especially not with a screw-up like what just happened. Okay. That is a pretty decent start. Except for that. Isn't it a little bit early to be summoning reinforcements? I only moved 2 steps forward. Well, he moved 2 steps, but it was only 1 step ahead of Emilio, so... wow. They waste no time. Now this is where height difference actually makes a bit of a difference. Oh, Ryoko has a sneaky idea. She's, well, it has to be seen to be believed. Oh wow. Ryoko, really? Fortunately, she seems to have contacted the dumbest guy in the North Japan Army. Well, Kinsado's being shady again. And this time, yeah, he seems to have started guessing at something. His only mistake is asking Ryoko about it directly, because of course she's not going to say anything. I mean, they've worked together in the same unit enough for him to know about her behavior, I think. Well, now Emilio is in a good position to do some damage and also absorb the enemy attacks when they get a move. Man, that really smooth attack from Jun really helped me out here. The problem is, of course, even in a road piece of terrain, this is mountain country. So enemy terrain defense is going to be a thing, and Emilio don't have no recon. So, we got special shells. the reason I decided to go with special shells, even though 15% isn't huge, is that the enemy is at full health, and this is the second tier anti-AFW. They got a really strong shield and good base health, better than Emilio's, in fact. Now, I decided to go with mines on the assumption that the enemy would walk forward a lot, because really, what else do they have to do? It's not like this thing is amazing at shooting. Alright, that seems to have been roughly the correct amount of damage. And the right timing, too. It's really nice to be able to throw off their aim like that. Wait, I think it's moving backwards. Yeah, it's definitely moving backwards. What is going on? Is it that afraid of my supply and mechanic? I mean, it should be, because I'm looking to finish it off, but still. This is very uncharacteristic anti-AFW behavior. Also, I think that moving forward was exactly what was needed to throw off their shot, because first of all, it switched it from a shell to a machine gun volley, and second, I think it might have altered the angle a bit to allow that kind of blind luck. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I meant for that to happen, but... And I was banking on the enemy attacking at the last second once I got into CC, but that delay actually worked against me this time. Nonetheless, I took no damage and dealt a lot, so I can't really complain. Though I do expect them to move back a bit, but no, I guess they decided not to do that because it's not like they would get a whole lot of health from recovering anyway. Well, no need to set down mines this time. I'm actually still kind of surprised that they decided to be aggressive, especially against Emilio. They could have tried to go and punch Jun instead. But, oh wow, ouch. That's actually some pretty decent firepower. Anyway, but sometimes their odd movements have resulted in a situation being in their favor, so who am I to judge? Well, there goes their front line, or... is it really a line if there's only one unit? Oh, you moved into short range. Well, that saves a maximum attack for me. Also, there's another co-op unit. Yeah, this is starting to form a pattern. Where do they get all these co-op squads? Why can't I have some more? Speaking of which, I looked through my units and I found out that Smoke Shot is actually a pretty rare frontline skill. Only 2 of my units have it, and they're medics that I got very early in the game. I haven't gotten any more for, at least 5 or 6 missions. Of course damage is minuscule. At least a couple of those swings look like clean whiffs. I don't expect that foreleg to catch up anytime soon, and that's very good news for me because the green squad requirement is of course to capture the base instead of just annihilating all enemies. So I was double checking their stats just in case these are enemies that I haven't really encountered yet. But no, this is just the same second tier stuff that we've faced before. Nonetheless, it was a good idea for me to check because, first of all, it's important to know their troop skills, and second, good to refresh myself on their stats. For example, these guys also have co-op, but the other squads are anti-armor, so that's less of a worry than usual. And here I got a big decision. I could move Jun forward, but then Cansado would have nothing to do. And that might actually be okay though, because he's a little flimsy, and if I move him forward, he's gonna be in range for 2 enemies to hit him back. But on the other hand, Ryoko is also an anti-squad unit, and we don't need 2 of them back there. And Jun has taken some damage, and we might need him to be fresh for the near future. I don't know. I really don't. What I forgot at the time was that I'd given Cansado a mechanic just in case he needed to do a little bit of anti-armor work. Nonetheless, I mean, I've just triggered reinforcements. They're gonna be on their way soon, and it might not be a bad idea to be cautious. Also, upon examination here, that's a fairly durable set of enemies right there, and Cansado definitely would have the firepower to deal with it, but I'm not sure that Jun would. And what makes it even more complicated is that, well, they're sitting on a village. Yeah. I don't want them to start their turn on it and get a free healing, and also I hadn't even bothered to check if that village had a squad in it. So I was just going by the assumption that if they started their turn and got free troop recovery, they'd steal a squad. Wow, that's a lot going into that one decision, isn't it? That's actually one of the reasons I really like this game. That's a lot of talking for one move, isn't it? But, hey, what can I say? That's sometimes the situation you get. And upon examination in this video, no, it doesn't have a squad, so I didn't have to worry about that in particular. Oh well. Well, move it. This time, there's really no reason for me to bring the mechanic. This isn't an anti-AFW, I don't need the mines. Also, it seems that I once again forgot to shorten the animation of the scouts doing their scouting. I really wish they hadn't given us a 12 or 15 second animation just for walking into a battle with Recon. Just one quick text box would have been fine. Now, I was really hoping that both of them would move forward, but I'll take the enemy's reduced power cooperation, if that's what it comes to. This is also a pretty good situation because, hey, these past couple of maps I haven't gotten too many situations where Cansado can just constantly fire at full accuracy without much hindrance. That was a really nice snipe. Well, the reason that I considered using spray fire and dodge in one battle was that now that I have Ink Shrap on my team, I can be a little bit more free with my maximum attacks. Because, hey, I got extra ammo. And now that I look at it, in this situation, it's probably better to favor dodge action with my max attacks. Because, while my max attacks are versatile, I can't exactly use Ink Shrap shells for defense. That would be anime. That would be super anime, though. Wow, he uses shrapnel to detonate the enemy's shell in midair. Now, because I thought I might have been under all this extra pressure to finish their enemy squads immediately in one battle, I was really scared when they moved their medics to the back like that. And I was also kind of scared when I got hit by this APC shell. Ouch. Ugh. He's gonna have some trouble surviving, that's for sure. Now, the reason I was so surprised when they moved their medics back to the front was that they don't actually have any skill charged. And that was really awful timing because my infantry and recon were just about ready to fire right there. If they had waited another second or two, they would have just shot the enemy AFW and the medics would have probably survived. Well, as for how well Cansado will weather the enemy counterattack, that'll have to wait until the next video. Don't you just love suspense? Well, I hope you enjoyed the videos so far. I will see you later.